Two boxes sit on a table in front of you. The first box is clear glass, and inside it you can see $1,000. The second box is opaque. It either contains $1 million or it contains nothing. You are allowed one choice. You may take only the opaque box, or you may take both. Before you arrived, a predictor studied you with inhuman care and already filled the opaque box according to what it believed you would do. If it predicted you would take only the opaque box, it put $1 million inside. If it predicted you would take both, it left the opaque box empty. The filling is finished. The past is sealed. Your hand is still free. That is Newcomb's paradox. And the title of this video is not a joke about poverty. It is the emotional shape of the dilemma. Take one box, and if the predictor read you correctly as a one-boxer, you leave with a fortune. Take both, and if the predictor read you as someone who grabs everything available, you leave with only the 1,000 you can already see. People who like clean causal thinking say, the fortune is already fixed, so you should take both and walk away a little richer no matter what. People who take the predictor's track record seriously say that habit is exactly how you stay poor forever in this game. Want the opening to be honest? Nobody has built a perfect predictor of your free choice and invited you into a televised box room. This is a thought experiment that became famous because it splits our usual rules for rational choice. It forces a collision between two ideas that normally live in peace. Dear 1 says you should do what causally improves your payoff given the world as it is. Dear 2 says you should do what would have been good news about the world you are in. In ordinary life, those ideas agree. Here they scream at each other before philosophy. Feel the table. The transparent box is not a trick. The 1,000 is real and visible. The opaque box is closed. You cannot peek. You cannot negotiate with the predictor because the predictor is gone. You cannot threaten, beg, or revise the filling. You can only choose and act now. That simplicity is why the paradox bites. There is almost no room to hide inside complexity. The entire war is about what your choice means when something in the past already treated your choice as data. Most people, on first hearing, feel the pull of taking both. The reasoning is almost automatic. Whatever is already in the opaque box will still be there if you take both. If it is empty, taking both gives you the 1,000. If it is full, taking both gives you the million plus the 1,000. In either case, two boxes beat one box by exactly $1,000. Declining free money on the table feels like a superstition. That is the voice of dominance reasoning, and it is not stupid. It is the same voice that tells you not to pay for a ship that has already sailed. Hold that voice carefully because it will stay in the room for the whole video. Dominance says once the boxes are filled, your act cannot reach backward and rewrite the contents. Causation points forward. The past is fixed. Adding the transparent 1,000 cannot hurt you relative to leaving it. Under that picture, one boxing is leaving money on the table because you are spooked by a correlation with a prediction that has already happened. Correlations are not causes, or so the story goes. Now, bring in the other voice, the one that looks at the predictor's history instead of only at the metal boxes. Suppose the predictor has been right thousands of times with people like you. One boxes almost always walk out rich. Woe boxes almost always walk out with only the 1,000. If you are about to two box, that fact is evidence right now that you are probably standing in front of an empty opaque box. If you are about to one box, that fact is evidence you are probably standing in front of a million. Your choice does not need to cause the past to be informative about the past. That second voice feels like cheating to causal thinkers and like sanity to people who treat prediction as real. The fight is not about whether money is good. Everyone wants more money. The fight is about which kind of expected value you are allowed to maximize when your act is entangled with information about a fixed state. Newcomb's paradox is a microscope for that fight. It magnifies a crack that everyday decisions usually hide under noise. William Newcomb devised the puzzle. Robert Nozick brought it into academic philosophy in the late 1960s. And watched it divide intelligent people with startling sharpness. Some found one boxing obvious, some found two boxing obligatory. Many reported an uncomfortable split between what they felt they should do and what they felt a theory of rationality permitted. That split is the product. The paradox is not trying to make you rich. It is trying to force your decision theory to confess what it actually values. Let us define the players with no romance. The predictor is not a god by necessity. It is an agent, machine, or process that outputs a prediction of your choice before the boxes are sealed, and that prediction is used to fill box B. Perfect accuracy is the cleanest version of the story, but even high accuracy is enough to create pressure. The agent is you, modeled as something that takes an input situation and returns an act. The acts are 1 box or 2 box. The payoffs are the amounts we already named. Everything else is commentary. Why does accuracy matter so much? Because if the predictor is random, the paradox dissolves into an ordinary gamble and 2-boxing looks fine. If the predictor is perfect, then your act and the contents of box B are locked together with brutal neatness. 1 boxes get the million, 2 boxes get the 1,000. There is no world under perfect prediction where you 2-box and also find the million, because that combination is exactly what perfect prediction forbids. The dominance argument still sounds local and clever. The global scoreboard still shows 1 boxers winning. This is where people start talking past each other. The 2-boxer says, look at the boxes in front of you. The opaque contents will not change when your hand moves. The 1-boxer says, look at the population of agents who face this table. The ones who think like you are about to think leave poor. Both statements can be true at once. That is the scandal. Truths that are usually partners become enemies under prediction. Causal decision theory formalizes the 2-boxer instinct. It says, evaluate actions by their causal consequences, holding fixed the parts of the world your act does not causally affect. Since the feeling is in the past, it is held fixed. Then 2-boxing dominates. Evidential decision theory formalizes the 1-boxer instinct in a different vocabulary. It says, evaluate actions by the news they bring about the world, using conditional probability. New boxing is excellent news about box B. War boxing is terrible news about box B. Either theory is a cartoon villain. Causal decision theory protects you from magical thinking. In ordinary cases, it stops you from believing that bringing an umbrella causes rain, just because umbrellas and rain are correlated. Evidential decision theory protects you from ignoring powerful indicators when your act is a symptom of a latent state. In medicine, taking a test result seriously is not magic. In Newcomb, your act is entangled with a latent prediction state in a way that feels more like a test result than like weather superstition, at least to 1-boxers. The umbrella example is the 2-boxer's favorite weapon. So take it slowly. People carry umbrellas when rain is likely. Carrying an umbrella does not make clouds form. If you want dry streets, do not perform umbrella ritual. That lesson is correct. The question is whether Newcomb is an umbrella case. In the umbrella case, your act does not systematically indicate a hidden feeling that was set by a model of that very act. In Newcomb, it does. The predictor is not weather. The predictor is a mirror aimed at your decision procedure. Once you see the predictor as a mirror of your algorithm, the story shifts. You are not only choosing an act on Tuesday, you are revealing on Tuesday what kind of procedure you implement. The predictor already ran a model of that procedure on Monday and filled boxes accordingly. If your procedure returns 2 boxes, Monday's filling was empty. If your procedure returns 1 box, Monday's filling was rich. From the point of view of the procedure itself, selecting 1 box is selecting the output that correlates with wealth across predictor-matched histories. That algorithmic view is the doorway into so-called timeless or functional styles of decision theory. The details differ across authors, and this video will not pretend there is one settled formal gospel. The shared intuition is that a decision is an output of a computation, and when another agent can simulate that computation, your choice and their earlier action become linked through logical or structural similarity rather than through ordinary physical pushing of the past. You do not rewrite yesterday. You determine which yesterday-compatible history you are in by determining what your computation returned. 2-boxers hear that paragraph and smell mysticism. They answer that computations still happen in time inside brains and chips, and that once the boxes are filled, no computation can reach backward. Knee boxers answer that the right object of choice was never a hand movement considered in isolation. The right object was the policy that both you and the predictor's model instantiate. Policies have consequences across simulated and real runs. Choosing a two-boxing policy is choosing to be the kind of agent whose simulations get empty boxes. Notice how close this comes to ideas you already accept about reputation and pre-commitment. If you can bind yourself in advance to refuse a ransom, you may never be kidnapped. If you can be predicted to refuse, the crime becomes unprofitable before it starts. The refusal does not magically erase a kidnapping that already happened. It changes which futures containing kidnappings arise. Newcomb compresses that logic into a single afternoon with sealed boxes. Pre-commitment usually needs time. Prediction substitutes for time. Pre-commitment is a bridge for people who dislike one-boxing but understand strategy. Imagine you could have signed a contract yesterday that forced you to one-box today under a reliable predictor. You would want that contract because it would have made yesterday's feeling rich. Causal thinkers often accept the contract while still insisting that, without it, today's dominance reasoning demands two-boxing. The paradox sharpens. If you wish you had been bound, what does that say about the rationality of the unbound choice you endorse now? Some reply that the wish reveals only a preference about past prediction states, not a reason to one-box after the fact. Others reply that a decision theory which systematically wishes it had been someone else is defective. That is one of the cleanest pressure points in the whole debate. Rule for choosing that constantly regrets its own type is a strange champion of rationality. Newcomb makes that regret vivid because the payoff gap between types is enormous. Let us walk a concrete, imagined history without treating it as a lab report. Against face the table. The predictor is excellent. 99 one-boxes find a million. 99 two-boxes find an empty opaque box and leave with 1,000. No rare error occurs somewhere and becomes a footnote. If you are about to decide and you know this pattern, the evidential pull toward one-boxing is not a feeling about vibes. It is a reading of a scoreboard. Causal dominance still whispers that you can be the special two-boxer who also gets the million. Under high accuracy, that whisper is almost always a fantasy. The fantasy has a name in spirit, if not always on a chalkboard. It is the hope that you can have the benefits of looking like a one-boxer to the predictor, while privately being a two-boxer at decision time. Perfect prediction, by definition, forbids that separation. High accuracy nearly forbids it. The two-boxer who says, "I will take both," and still somehow be predicted as a one-boxer is asking for inconsistent worlds. The one-boxer who says, "I will leave the 1,000," is accepting consistency with the predictor's model as the price of the million. Consistency sounds moral when I say it that way, and I want to avoid preaching. This is not a sermon about honesty. Rock has no honesty and can still be predicted by physics. The point is structural. If your decision procedure is transparent enough to be modeled, then outputs of that procedure are not private theater, they are readable. In an age of algorithms that score credit, price insurance, recommend sentences, and flag fraud, that structural point is no longer only a philosopher's toy, it is the weather of modern life. Even when no million sits in a black box, pause on those modern cautions, because they keep the paradox from floating away into pure fantasy. Banks, platforms, and states already try to predict behavior. They are imperfect predictors. Imperfection matters. It softens the paradox without deleting it. The closer a system gets to modeling your policy, the more your present choice functions as evidence about how you were classified earlier, and the more naive dominance reasoning can look locally smart and globally expensive. Newcomb is the limiting case, where classification and filling are almost fused. Imperfect prediction also warns against cartoon conclusion. If a predictor is weak, two-boxing may be fine. If a predictor is biased, one-boxing may not buy what you think. If you can fool the model, the correlation breaks. The paradox is sharpest when the model is strong and aimed at the same algorithm that outputs your act. Outside that regime, ordinary causal thinking regains territory. Careful video must keep that map. The title's threat is conditional on a serious predictor, not on every weather forecast. Free will enters here, like a late guest who insists on rearranging the furniture. Some say if a predictor can know your choice, you were never free. that leap is too fast. Predictability and freedom are not automatic enemies in every philosophical account. Choice can be yours because it flows from your values and deliberation, and still be predictable to someone who understands those values. Other accounts say prediction of that strength would indeed threaten libertarian freedom. The paradox does not settle that metaphysical war, it borrows tension from it. What the paradox does settle, at least as a practical lesson, is that slogans about free will do not choose the boxes for you. You still need a decision rule. Saying I am free does not tell you whether freedom is better expressed by taking the visible 1,000 or by aligning with the policy the predictor rewarded. Freedom without a criterion is just noise. Newcomb forces criterion choice into the open. Let us go deeper into causal decision theory's best defense. The defense says that good news is not the same as good control. You want control. When you two-box, you control an extra 1,000. You do not control the past filling. Treating news as if it were control is a category error. In medical examples, you should not refuse a diagnostic that correlates with disease, as if refusing the diagnostic cures you. You should ask what your act causes. Two-boxing causes plus 1,000. Me-boxing causes leaving that 1,000 behind. Evidentialists answer that Newcomb is not a diagnostic you refuse to take. It is an act that is entangled with the state the diagnostic would have revealed, because the predictor already used a model of the act. Refusing one-boxing is less like refusing a test, and more like choosing to be the patient type whose chart already says empty box. The analogy war never ends cleanly, which is why the paradox remains alive decades later. Analogies illuminate. They do not replace formal expected utility arguments, and those formalisms themselves diverge. There is a further sophistication on the causal side called ratification, or related ideas about decisions that remain approved after you include the information that you have decided. Some versions try to capture stability of choice. In Newcomb, after you become sure you will two-box, you may also become sure the opaque box is empty, and then two-boxing still looks ratifiable because of the extra 1,000. After you become sure you will one-box, you may become sure the opaque box is full, and one-boxing can look stable too in another sense. Depending on the exact ratifiability notion, different theorists claim different winners. The technical literature is dense. The takeaway for us is simpler. Even inside sophisticated causal frameworks, Newcomb keeps forcing patches. On the other side, evidential decision theory has classic problem cases of its own, such as situations where an act is news about a desirable state without helping to cause it, and where EDT seems to recommend useless or harmful news-managing behavior. Critics say EDT one-boxes for the wrong reasons and will misbehave elsewhere. Defenders revise the theory or bite selected bullets. Again, the pattern repeats. Camp can handle Newcomb only by risking awkwardness somewhere else, or by moving toward a more structural algorithmic view of decision. That is why timeless and functional approaches attracted attention among people who care about embedded agents, predictors, and artificial intelligence. If an agent is a program that will be copied, simulated, or anticipated, then the right notion of action may be the choice of output for that program across linked instances. One-boxing becomes the output that linked instances use to coordinate with the predictor's earlier fill. Whether those approaches succeed as general decision theories is debated. Their existence shows that Newcomb is not a museum piece. It is a stress test for agents that live among models of themselves. Embedded agency is a useful phrase here. Even if we keep the language human, you are not a detached ghost hovering outside physics, choosing acts with no footprint. You are a process in the world. Other processes can model you when they can. The old textbook separation between decision and environment softens. Newcomb is a toy model of that softening. The opaque box is the environment's earlier response to a model of you. Your hand is the process continuing. Return to the table and watch the two boxes hand. They take both. They feel principled. If the opaque box is empty, they say, at least I did not leave free money. If somehow it is full, they get even more. In a world of perfect prediction that somehow never happens, their principle optimized a local dominance relation and lost the global prize. Return to the one box's hand. They leave the 1,000. They feel exposed to looking like a sucker. If the predictor failed under strong prediction, they usually do not look like a sucker. They look like someone who understood the game they were in. Which hand is rational? The honest answer is that rationality here is theory relative. Under causal decision theory, two boxing is rational. Under evidential decision theory, one boxing is rational. Under several algorithmic decision theories designed for predictors, one boxing is rational. The paradox's power is that it shows our everyday word rational conceals a fork. People who thought they shared a meaning discover they do not. That discovery is worth more than any imaginary million, because it changes how you hear every later argument about choice. Still, the title asks you to feel a cost. Stay poor forever is what repeated two boxing looks like against a strong predictor that rewards one boxing policies. The phrase is rhetoric, but the structure is real. Inside the thought experiment, community of agents who worship dominance in Newcomb environments will be poorer than a community that can one box. Evolution, markets, and training loops can select for one boxing dispositions for that reason. Even before anyone writes a philosophy paper, disposition is another name for policy. Dispositions also connect to identity. Who are you at the moment of choice? Are you only the person now, maximally local, maximizing given fixed past boxes, or are you also the continuing pattern that the predictor simulated? The same pattern that will run in future Newcomb-like situation. If identity is thin and local, two boxing feels natural. If identity includes the pattern across simulations and repetitions, one boxing feels like loyalty to yourself as an algorithm. Neither picture is forced by physics alone. Both are philosophical additions that Newcomb makes expensive to ignore. Want to keep physics in its proper lane. Nothing in standard laboratory physics says a Newcomb predictor must exist. Determinism in fundamental laws, if true, does not automatically give any practical agent a usable perfect readout of your deliberations. Chaos, privacy, computational limits, and quantum uncertainty can block prediction long before philosophy finishes. So the video's claim is not that the universe has already priced your decisions on a cosmic exchange. The claim is that if a predictor can price them, your favorite decision rule may bankrupt you. Already priced in, as a metaphor, is still useful. Markets price expectation, insurers price risk, classes, platforms price attention. When those systems model you, your behavior is partly an unveiling of a class you were sorted into earlier. That is not Newcomb exactly. It is Newcomb flavored. Understanding the pure paradox makes the flavored versions less confusing. You stop being shocked that local cleverness can be globally expensive under prediction. Let us address a common escape attempt. People say I would one box if the predictor is perfect and two box if not. That conditional policy is itself something a predictor can model. If the predictor knows you two box whenever you doubt perfection, and if your doubt is easy to trigger, you may rebuild two boxing through the back door. If you can truly one box even under uncertainty about accuracy, as long as expected value favors it, you are closer to a stable one boxing policy. The escape attempt becomes another decision theory in disguise. Another escape attempt says the opaque box might contain a million regardless. So take both. That ignores the problem setup. Another says the predictor is impossible, so ignore the story. That refuses the stress test. Thought experiments earn their keep by revealing hidden commitments under idealized condition. Idealization is not fraud when it is labeled. It is microscopy. Newcomb labels the lens. Perfect prediction is the stain on the slide. What about taking one box for mystical reasons? As if your choice literally reaches backward and inserts money. That is the bad reason to one box. Good one boxing reasons do not require backward causation. They require either evidential expected value or an algorithmic policy view. If you one box because you believe in psychokinesis toward the past, you are not learning Newcomb. You are smuggling magic. This video rejects that magic while still taking one boxing seriously as a candidate rational policy. What about two boxing with clear eyes? Accepting poverty against predictors as the price of a causal principle, that can be a coherent stance. Some philosophers endorse it without confusion. They say rationality is not the same as winning every thought experiment against supernatural predictors. They would rather keep a decision theory that behaves well in ordinary causal environments. Fair enough. if owned explicitly. The danger is pretending two boxing also wins the Newcomb scoreboard. It does not, by construction. When prediction is strong, winning versus being right is another fork. The paradox exposes, in some views, the rational act is defined by conformity to a theory, and payoffs only test whether the world rewards that theory. In other views, systematic loss under known conditions is a mark against the theory. Newcomb makes the second view hard to ignore because the loss is huge and clean. It also keeps the first view alive, because the causal principle still feels locally airtight. Living inside that tension is more honest than picking a team jersey in the first minute and refusing to hear. Now assemble the linear spine so nothing important stays foggy. First, the boxes and the predictor. Second, dominance and two boxing. Third, track records and one boxing. Fourth, causal versus evidential decision theory. Fifth, mirrors, policies, and algorithmic decision ideas. Sixth, imperfect real-world predictors and the limits of the analogy. Seventh, free will noise cleared away. Eighth, the return to your hand above the table. That order matters. Arc step prepares the next. None should reopen as a recycled ending when your hand finally moves in the imagined room. The movement is small. The meaning is not. You are declaring which kind of expected value you trust when news and causation come apart. You are declaring whether you optimize given a fixed opaque box, or optimize as a policy that fixed opaque boxes have historically matched. You are declaring whether the 1,000 on the glass is an irresistible free gift or bait that selects two boxes for poverty in predictor worlds. The declaration is abstract until the day an algorithm can model you well. Then it becomes less abstract overnight. We'll not tell you that physics demands one answer. We'll tell you what the scoreboard says inside the thought experiment. Strong predictors make one boxes rich and two boxes comparatively poor. Causal dominance still recommends two boxing after the boxes are filled. Those sentences can coexist. Their coexistence is the paradox. If you felt only one sentence, you have not yet felt Newcomb. If you felt both and hated the feeling, you are closer to understanding why the problem refused to die. Take one box or stay poor forever as a title is a dare aimed at the dominance instinct. It is also unfair if read as a claim about your bank account tomorrow morning. Read it correctly. In the Newcomb environment, repeated two boxing is a policy that stays poor relative to one boxing. Whether you should inhabit that environment's norms depends on whether you think its idealizations track anything real about choice under prediction. The dare is a spotlight, not a verdict from nature. Sit with the transparent 1,000 a little longer, because that small sum is doing psychological work out of proportion to its size. It is visible. Visibility creates ownership before choice. Your mind already counts it as almost yours. Leaving it behind feels like a loss, not like declining an option. Prospect-style intuitions about loss make two boxing feel like protecting what you have, even though the real fortune, if it exists, is hidden. The opaque million has to overcome a bias that favors the seen over the unseen. Paradox designers know this. The glass is not neutral furniture. There is also a moral flavor that sneaks in without being argued. Leaving the 1,000 can feel like virtue, as if you are resisting greed. Taking both can feel like courage against superstition. Neither flavor is the argument. Greed and courage are costume. Under the hood, the question is expected value under different dependence relations between act and state. If you catch yourself choosing a costume, costumes are how comment sections replace thought experiment. Let us harden the dominance claim with a table in Word. State 1. Opaque box empty. Me box yields 0. 2 box yields 1,000. State 2. Opaque box full. 1 box yields 1 million. Wu box yields 1 million plus 1,000. In each fixed state, 2 boxing adds 1,000. If states are independent of your act, dominance is decisive. The entire 1 box case rests on denying that independence, not denying physics. Denying probabilistic independence between act and state when a predictor has coupled them. Independence is the quiet hinge. In ordinary shopping, your choice of cereal does not rewrite the price tag printed last week in a way that depends on a simulation of your cereal algorithm. In Newcomb, The opaque contents were set by a process that depended on a simulation of your choice algorithm. That dependence survives into the present as correlation. Correlation without causal arrows from present to past is enough to break the independence assumption that dominance needs. Whether you should care about that correlation is the philosophical meat. Some teachers present Newcomb as a quarrel about time travel. That presentation misleads. Time travel would let your present act change past events through a causal channel running backward. No boxing need not claim that channel. It can claim only that your present act tells you which past event occurred in the coupled history you inhabit. Learning is not pushing. The predictor's earlier action is fixed. Your learning about it through your own decision disposition is what changes. Learning through deciding sounds paradoxical until you remember ordinary self-knowledge. You sometimes learn what kind of friend you are by noticing what you are about to do under pressure. The act reveals a type. Newcomb makes the stakes monetary and the type readable by an external model. The structure is related. If that still feels wrong, good. The feeling of wrongness is the mind protecting a clean separation between choosing and learning. Newcomb stains that separation on purpose. Nozick reported that the paradox divided people who agreed on almost every other tool in decision theory. That sociological fact matters when a puzzle splits competent reasoners cleanly. It usually means two concepts were glued under one word. Here the word is rational. One camp hears rational as causal expected utility, with acts as interventions. The other hears rational as choosing the news you most want to receive about a correlated world, or as choosing a policy output under simulation. Same English word, different engines. If you want a miniature version without millions, imagine a teacher who predicts whether a student will leave early and writes a note in a sealed envelope. If the teacher predicts early leaving, the note says you will miss the prize. If the teacher predicts staying, the note says you get the prize. At the end, students choose to leave or stay, knowing the teacher's accuracy is high. Staying looks like leaving money on the table to the impatient student who thinks the note is already inked, and therefore irrelevant. Staying looks obvious to the student who reads the teacher's track record. Newcomb is that classroom with better publicity. Accuracy thresholds matter quantitatively even when we avoid digits and speech. As prediction quality rises, the expected value gap between policies widens in favor of one-boxing under evidential and algorithmic scorings. As prediction quality falls toward chance, the gap collapses and causal dominance looks safer. Thoughtful agent does not need perfect prediction to feel pressure. They need prediction good enough that the news value of the act outweighs the transparent thousand under their preferred formalism. The title's forever poverty is the limiting myth of that curve. Let us talk about simulation more carefully. Predictor need not recreate your entire inner life. It needs a model that matches your output on this menu of acts. Coarse models can still be dangerous if they capture the policy class you occupy. Fine models are more threatening. Either way, the philosophical issue is not cinematic consciousness inside the model. The issue is reliable mapping from agent type to box contents. When that mapping is reliable, treating your act as irrelevant news is an expensive luxury. Two boxers sometimes grant all of that and still refuse to one box. Their line is principled. They say a decision theory must remain same when predictors are absent, and the price of Newcomb wins is insanity elsewhere. They point at medical news cases and other EDT embarrassments. New boxers reply that causal theory fails embedded tests and Newcomb-like tests, so everyone pays a price somewhere. The mature stance is comparative. Which failures do you accept? Newcomb does not vanish because every theory is stained. It becomes a weight in the comparison. Functional decision ideas try to reduce the stain by changing the object of choice from muscle twitches to algorithm outputs. If you choose the output of the function that is you, and predictors model that function, then one-boxing is a functional output with high return across linked evaluation. Critics say this smuggles non-local logical causation. Proponents say logical linkage is already how mathematics constrains multiple calculators computing the same sum. Two calculators do not push each other's buttons, they still match. Prediction exploits matching. The logical linkage deserves the name causation is a terminology trap. You can avoid the word and still state the claim. Agents that implement the same decision function will produce the same act in the same input. Predictor that knows the function knows the act early. Filling boxes on that basis creates a payoff structure that rewards some functions over others. Selecting a function output today is selecting which payoff class you occupy. That statement does not require spooky forces. It requires taking functions seriously as the locus of agency. Human beings are not clean function. We are noisy, tired, hormonally nudged, and context-sensitive. That fact cuts both ways. It makes perfect prediction less plausible. It also makes policy training more relevant. You can practice being a one-boxer in low-stakes commitment problems until the disposition is stable enough for a model to read. You can also practice local grab rationality until that is what models read. Character is a slow Newcomb technology. The boxes only make character legible in one scene. Commitment problems in ordinary life include refusing certain DARs, keeping training schedules, honoring contracts when cheating is locally profitable, and not opening a message you promised yourself you would ignore. Has a local dominant style temptation. Can have global policy value. Newcomb is the purified crystal of that family. If you already understand why people bind themselves, you are closer to understanding why some theorists one-box. If you think binding is always irrational because local dominance forbids it, Newcomb will feel like an attack. Binding can be external, like a contract, or internal, like a revised decision algorithm. External binding is easy for causal theorists to bless, because the past constraint causally shapes present option. Internal binding is harder, because at the moment of choice, the agent can still ask why not deviate. One boxing without external binding is internal binding under fire. That is why it feels unreal to some and heroic to others. It is a decision theory performing without crutches. Artificial agents make the crutch question sharper. Program can be copied. Copies can be run in prediction mode before the real environment is filled. If the program two boxes in prediction and in reality, empty boxes follow. If it one boxes in both, rich boxes follow. There is no room for the fantasy of being predicted as a one-boxer while outputting two-box at runtime, unless the program is inconsistent or the predictor is wrong. Designers who want agents that succeed among predictors have a structural reason to care about Newcomb. This is not mysticism about silicon souls, it is engineering under simulation. Humans increasingly live near such designers. Recommendation systems, scoring systems, and automated gatekeepers simulate core-ass versions of us. They are flawed predictors. Flawed is not irrelevant. Flawed predictor still creates Newcomb-flavored incentives when it is good enough and when your act remains informative about your class. Learning to ask, is my local grab being priced as a type, is a modern literacy. The paradox is one of the best drills for that literacy, because it is extreme enough to be memorable. Also want to warn against using Newcomb to justify fatalism. Fatalism says the future is fixed, so choice is pointless. Newcomb says something almost opposite for the one-boxer. Choice is so informative and so linked to modeled policy that it matters enormous. The contents are fixed, yet the act still sorts you into the wealth class associated with that fixed content. Fatalism dissolves urgency. Newcomb intensifies the meaning of a single output. Do not confuse them. Fatalism's cousin is the lazy two-boxer joke. If everything is predicted, I might as well take both. That joke ignores the payoff matrix. Under strong prediction, that might as well is how you select the poor row. Humor can hide a policy error. The matrix does not laugh. Let us place free will one more time in a smaller box. If your choice is predictable from prior brain states, some will say it is not free. Others will say freedom is acting according to your reasons without external coercion, which can be predictable. Newcomb can be told in both metaphysics. In a deterministic telling, the predictor reads a determined agent. In an indeterministic telling, high accuracy may be harder, and the paradox often. Either way, the decision-theoretic fork between news and causation remains the main character. Free will is supporting cast. Supporting cast still deserves one clear sentence. Nothing in this video requires you to abandon moral responsibility. One-boxing and two-boxing are still attributable to agents as policies. Blame and praise can track policies even when predictors exist. If anything, prediction makes policy more ethically salient, because types become readable. That is uncomfortable. Comfort is not the metric. return to dominance with empathy. The two boxers staring at glass money is not a villain. They are applying a heuristic that saves them from nonsense elsewhere. Our task is not to humiliate that heuristic, it is to mark its failure domain. Failure domains are how adult reasoning works. Newtonian physics fails near light speed without becoming useless on roads. Causal dominance fails in strong prediction problems without becoming useless in umbrella weather. Domain marking is the opposite of slogans. One boxers need domain marking too. If they one box in problems where acts are mere symptoms and no predictor coupling exists, they can perform useless news management. Good one. Boxers are not people who always follow news value. They are people who recognize predictor-style coupling. Without that recognition, EDT-style thinking becomes a superstition generator. The paradox teaches recognition, not a personality cult of leaving money on tables. Recognition cues include an explicit model of your policy, a payoff that depends on that model's earlier output, and limited ability to decouple your runtime act from the modeled act. When those cues are present, Newcomb pressure is on. When they are absent, go back to ordinary causal hygiene. That checklist is more useful than any team identity. It travels. Now the title can be read without hype. Take one box names the policy that wins against strong predictors in the standard payoff story. Take poor forever. Names the relative long run of the opposite policy in that same story. The forever is rhetorical permanence of a repeated game against the same structure. It is not a curse on your literal future wages. Precision keeps the hook from becoming a lie. If you felt the hook first and the precision later, that order was intentional. Hooks open attention. Precision earns the right to keep it. Channel about cosmic and philosophical puzzles has to do both, or it becomes either clickbait or a lecture nobody finishes. Newcomb is ideal for that double job, because the surface is a game show and the depth is the meaning of rational choice. We opened with a hand above two boxes. We close with the same hand. Now informed, the glass thousand still shines. The opaque box still hides. The predictor is still gone. What changed is your map of dependence. If you two box, do it knowing you are paying for a causal principle. If you one box, do it knowing you are trusting news or policy linkage, not psychokinesis. Either choice can be owned. Noun choice is how paradoxes turn into noise. Word choice is also how you walk back into ordinary life without needing a predictor costume. Ask where your acts are being modeled. Ask whether local grabs are globally expensive under those models. Ask which decision theory you are actually running when talk gets abstract. Those questions are portable. They are the residue Newcomb leaves when the imaginary million is gone. The residue is enough. You do not need a verdict that ends the academic war. You need a clearer ear for what people mean when they say the rational move. Sometimes they mean dominate given fixed states. Sometimes they mean choose the act that is good news under coupling. Sometimes they mean choose the algorithm output that wins across simulation. Hearing which one is in play will save you from fake agreement and fake disagreement alike. Fake agreement is when two people both say be rational and walk away thinking they settled Newcomb. Fake disagreement is when they fight about greed versus faith while sharing no formal criterion. Real disagreement names the criterion. This video has named them. Causal expected utility, evidential expected utility, algorithmic policy choice under prediction. Keep the names and the boxes will stop being a mere meme. And when the meme returns, as it will, you can answer with calm. Yes, take both if states are independent of acts. Yes, take one if a strong predictor coupled your policy to the opaque contents. Yes, the thousand is a trap for intuition. Yes, backward causation is unnecessary. Yes, perfect predictors are idealizations. Yes, imperfect predictors still matter. That calm is rarer than hot takes. It is also closer to understanding. There is still wonder after the dare cools. The wonder is that a story with two boxes can separate meanings of rationality that ordinary language glues together. The wonder is that prediction turns acts into signals without requiring time travel. The wonder is that leaving money on a table can be the winning move in one coherent accounting and the losing move in another. Holding that wonder without sliding into mysticism is the adult form of the puzzle. If you leave with only one practical habit, let it be this: when a system predicts you, ask whether your decision theory is maximizing local causal increments or managing the news your policy sends into models of yourself. Those are different jobs. Sometimes they coincide when they do not. You are standing at Newcomb's table, even if the boxes are metaphors. Naming the table makes the discomfort usable instead of vague. One more pass on the transparent 1,000 helps close a remaining soft spot. People say leaving it is psychologically unrealistic, so one-boxing cannot be normative. Normative theories often demand acts that feel unrealistic at first. Causal caution against superstition once felt unnatural to magical cultures. The question is not what feels easy in a hot second. The question is which policy survives reflection when the predicted coupling is stipulated. Feeling is evidence about human heuristics. It is not a veto against every uncomfortable policy. Reflection can also move a person from two-boxing toward one-boxing without mystical conversion. They begin with dominance. They add the predictor's accuracy. They notice the independence assumption failing. They try on evidential scoring or policy scoring. They may still return to two-boxing after reflection, but then the return is chosen, not merely habitual. Newcomb's educational value is that movement under reflection, paradox that never moves anyone, is only a toy. Paradox that changes the reasons people can name is a tool. Tools can be misused. The misuse here would be telling strangers they are irrational for two-boxing, as if the academic dispute were settled by a thumbnail. It is not settled. Serious thinkers remain on both sides. What is settled inside the standard story is the payoff pattern under strong prediction, and the existence of a fork between decision theories. Stay with what is settled. Label what is not. That discipline is how science communication avoids becoming a cult of one-boxing or a cult of dominance. Discipline brings us to the last image, not a god, not a prophecy. Table, two boxes, a gone predictor, and a human policy about to emit an output. The output is small. The classification it confirms can be large. If you remember only that, you remember Newcomb in the form that travels into a world of models. Take one box or take both. Just know which theory of choice you are feeding and what that theory does when someone else has already priced your pattern. And if you leave with a second habit, let it be suspicion toward easy slogans on either side. Two boxers who call one boxers superstitious are often ignoring how prediction links acts to states. One boxers who call two boxers greedy fools are often ignoring how clean the local dominance argument is. The adults in the room can state the other side steel-manned. This video has tried to do that. Because a paradox explained poorly becomes a tribal badge, paradox explained carefully becomes an instrument. So picture the table once more. Glass box with 1,000. Pack box already filled. Predictor gone. Hand poised. Nothing supernatural needs to occur for the question to matter. Only a decision rule under correlation with a past model of that rule. Take both and claim the visible 1,000 as principle. Take one and claim alignment with the policy that predictors reward. Either way, know which theory you are serving. Forever in the title only means as long as you keep facing predictor-like games with the same rule. Return to the opening pull one last time. Slower now. The transparent 1,000 is designed to feel like free money. Free money is a powerful moral cue. Declining it feels like refusing a gift from reality itself. That feeling is why dominance lands so hard in the body. Before it lands in a formula, you can honor that feeling without letting it finish the argument alone. Feelings mark where a theory will be hard to live by. They do not decide which theory is coherent. Under the rules of the game, the opaque box is designed to feel like a sealed verdict. Sealed verdicts tempt superstition. They also tempt the opposite error, the smug refusal to update on powerful track records. Between those errors sits the careful middle this video has been building. Respect causation, respect evidence, respect the difference between weather superstition and a mirror aimed at your policy. If you keep that middle, Newcomb stops being a DAR and becomes a calibration tool for how you talk about choice. Calibration matters outside philosophy rooms. Hearing screens, credit models, platform rankings, and automated risk scores all treat patterns of behavior as predictable enough to price. You may never face a literal million in an opaque box. You already face systems that fill metaphorical boxes before you act. Then watch what you do, knowing whether you are optimizing a local grab or a policy that those systems reward is not academic flavor text, it is literacy for a world that models you. Literacy does not require surrendering every private preference to an algorithm. It requires noticing when your preferred decision slogan was trained on ordinary cases where acts and states are nearly independent. Newcomb is the classroom where independence fails on purpose. Once you have sat in that classroom, you can ask, for each new dilemma, whether independence is still a safe assumption. If it is, dominance reasoning can stay in charge. If it is not, you need the other tools we named. Those tools will keep evolving. As researchers write cleaner formalisms, the boxes will stay, the hand will stay, the quarrel between local dominance and predictive coupling will stay. Our job is not to freeze the field into a slogan. Your job is to lead with vocabulary precise enough that the next argument you hear about rationality does not collapse into insults. That is a modest ending for a video with a loud title, and modesty is the right temperature for a paradox that still divides careful minds. Thank you very much for joining me on this journey through the cosmic mysteries, and until next time, keep looking up.